Some escapes are just prettier prisons. Today's story is about mistaking that prison for liberty. Listen closely. If you told me that a single kiss in a stairwell would cost me my marriage, my job, my apartment, and the dog, I would have laughed. I was the dependable one, the colleague trusted with meeting notes, the neighbor trusted with spare keys. I had been married to Adrian for 8 years. From the outside, our life looked stable. Trimmed hedges, 2 mugs in the sink, Saturday pancakes. Inside, the air was still. Adrian is a civil engineer. He builds bridges, schedules meetings, and equates peace with silence. When his firm landed a highway project, he vanished into long nights. Our conversations shrank to logistics, and I felt like a calendar event he forgot to accept. Then Theo arrived at my office as a consultant. Charming, reckless with attention. He noticed my book, quoted a line, asked real questions. Our Slack thread shifted from deadlines into playlists. One night, waiting for a ride, we paused in a concrete stairwell. He said he wanted to kiss me. I didn't refuse. That kiss felt like breathing underwater and finding air. I told myself it would be one breath. Instead, we created a secret routine. Long coffees, brainstorming sessions, a cheap hotel by the river. I removed my wedding ring and slipped it into my jeans coin pocket. I believed I could juggle both lives perfectly. Guilt didn't roar. It tapped. Poppy, our terrier, waited by the door while I lied about team drinks. Adrian saved me a plate. When my phone buzzed, I turned it face down. If Adrian noticed, he chalked it up to work stress. I slept like a thief. Theo's attention was sunlight through a magnifying glass. He wanted photos of my bare left hand and replies within minutes. He called it passion. When I missed a message during dinner with Adrian's parents, Theo sent repeated question marks until my stomach dropped. I decided jealousy was the price of feeling alive. The first crack came with a ruined morning. We hid in the River Hotel before a workshop and overslept. Aaron, our manager, presented alone. HR asked for travel receipts and badge logs. Coincidences turned into evidence. 2 nights later, Adrian chopped cilantro and asked if I was happy. I'm fine, I said, and my phone buzzed with a heart from Theo. I sent one back and hated the person I had to be to keep the lie alive. Discovery arrived as glass and light. Aaron said a client had seen us holding hands in the hotel lobby. Badge logs showed late-night entries. There was a policy I'd signed without reading. She didn't fire me. The ground had already split. That evening, Adrian met me at the table with my laptop open. Messages glowed like exit signs, nicknames, times, an elevator selfie. He didn't shout. He asked when I had decided to leave our life while keeping the furniture. I tried metaphors. Loneliness, oxygen, drowning, but the only honest word was sorry. He slept on the couch with Poppy curled at his knees. In the morning, he placed his ring beside mine and asked me to leave for a while. I moved into Priya's spare room with a suitcase. Theo promised it was just turbulence. For 2 weeks, he sent playlists. Then his messages thinned. A colleague said he was reconciling with his wife. I wasn't a person. I was a phase with receipts. HR concluded with an email of neutral verbs. The company parted ways with both of us. My savings were unprepared. The lease was in Adrian's name. A locksmith watched while I boxed my life. An attorney requested that Poppy stay with Adrian, whose schedule now allowed for long walks. He was in therapy. I was learning how to breathe without an audience. I wrote Adrian a letter with no adjectives. I described the stairwell and the split screen, how I called hunger romance and secrecy freedom. I didn't ask to return. He thanked me for honesty and set a boundary. No contact until practical matters were done. Kindness is the sharpest consequence. It leaves you facing only yourself. Recovery was small. I took a temp job, rode the bus before sunrise, told the truth in therapy on Tuesdays. I apologized to Aaron. I paid Priya rent on time. When Theo called at midnight just to hear my voice, I let it ring. The next morning, I stood by the river and said no aloud. It sounded ordinary and sacred. The divorce finalized without drama. Adrian kept the apartment and Poppy. I kept my grandmother's lamp in a box of photos. Sometimes Poppy appears in a shared album. I tap the heart and sit with the ache until it passes. Missing someone is like weather. You don't control it. You dress for it. I found full-time work at a nonprofit teaching girls to code. It pays less and matters more.
There's a staircase in the lobby.
Every day, I pass the landing and choose the floor with windows instead of shadows. The choice never becomes automatic. Maybe that's the point. If you're waiting for permission to cheat because you feel unseen, I don't have it. What I have is a map of the trap I built. I traded a parachute for fireworks. They burned and went out, and I was still falling. Freedom is not the secret room where someone calls you extraordinary. Freedom is saying what you need while the house still stands and accepting the answer, even if it's no. I learned it late. I'm still learning. Some cages have no bars. They have mirrors. If you stare at your reflection and call it freedom, check the walls. Real freedom is costly and never bought with someone else's heart. Thanks for listening.